Hi everyone, it's Kristen. So today is Wednesday. So we're going to start with this one. And for yesterday, it was Black Panther. And he first appeared in Fantastic Four in like 1966. And then he became like a member of the Avengers 2 years later. He didn't become like, I will say, really popular until the like late 1990s. And of course, most people know him from the Avengers movies with Chadwick Boseman, because of course Chadwick did an amazing job. I mean, he was perfect for that role, and I think that and part of it that Marvel chose not to recast his role once he died, and instead went in the direction in Wakanda Forever, and had Shuri be the new Black Panther in a way, because he did such an amazing job, and it was just like a tribute to him to have his legacy playing that character preserved. Of course, I'm sure they will recast his role eventually. I feel like they're going to have it to where it's his son who's the new Black Panther, which I'd be, totally okay with. That would fit in that MCU universe. So, I mean, he might even show up in Secret Wars. Who knows? I feel like there's going to be a whole lot of characters, known and unknown characters, that show up in Secret Wars, and Marvel's gonna kind of just throw a bunch of people out there and characters out there and see what sticks, what becomes popular, and maybe grow from there. I mean, don't quote me on that, but I feel like that's what's gonna happen. Or they'll use that also to introduce new characters that they plan to highlight. So I mean, that's kind of what the original comic book series was about. So for me, when I think Black Panther, I think of Storm, of course, because they got married in like 2001. Was no, I think it was 2006. Yeah, there's so much comic book history that sometimes I do get confused, and sometimes I do forget stuff. I don't, and I honestly don't know everything. I know it may seem like I do sometimes, but I don't know everything. Anyway, so I associate him the most with Storm when they were married, and she was a queen of Wakanda, and she had the really awesome wedding dress that I loved, and they also replaced Reed and Sue as members of the Fantastic Four for a while, so that was kind of cool too. But of course, their marriage ended when the A versus X storyline happened, because Storm's loyalties were divided between X-Men, her first family, and her new husband and the Avengers, because of course they were both on the Avengers together for a while too. So yeah, it wasn't meant to be, wasn't meant to last, which I mean, that's what happens with comic book romances. Usually they're pretty rocky, and they some for the most part don't usually last, or they go through periods where they've split up and then they'll come back together later. So, and then speaking of comic book marriages, so we have Jewel as the character for today. And so Jessica Jones, she's married to Luke Cage, and they have a daughter, Danielle. And they did split up for a while, and then they came back together. And I feel like she's a good example of the whole superheroes having a kid and trying to navigate both worlds, being a superhero and having children. And at one point, Squirrel Girl was Daniel's nanny, and Jessica is going back and forth trying to figure out how to be both a mom and a superhero. And she's quit sometimes because she feels like it's too dangerous. I mean, because Danielle's been kidnapped, and she doesn't want to put her in danger. I mean, but even when she was briefly a reporter for the Daily Bugle when she was pregnant, it was still dangerous because she was oh, hi, Dazzler. Oh, just passing through. Okay. She was still kidnapped because of what the Daily Bugle had printed about Norman Osborn in their paper. So, you kind of can't win. But if you're going to have a nanny for your kids, a super powered nanny is the way to go. Like Reed and Sue had Agatha Harkness as Franklin's nanny for a while. Oh, so anyway, here's her stats. Intelligence 2, like I said, I feel like that's, average human intelligence. Strength 4, because she got, her powers from like a toxic spill. Speed 3, durability 4, energy 1, skills 3. So when she first appeared, she's a relatively new character, like 2001 in The Alias, about the detective agency. So, her Netflix show, when I heard Kristen Ritter was going to play her, I was like, there's no way. Because the only exposure I had had to Kristen Ritter before Jessica Jones was Don't Trust the Bee and Apartment 23. It was like a comedy sitcom. It only ran for one season, maybe like 13 episodes. I don't know. I haven't been able to find it anywhere to watch, but I thought that was pretty funny, and I thought she did a really good job. Like, she's a really good comedic actress, so I thought, well, there's no way she can play this serious role, but she did a great job. Like, I really enjoyed that series, and I was hoping that, because in comics, she's controlled by Kilgrave, and she finally goes to the X-Men, specifically Jean Grey, for help in removing, his control over her. And Jean puts mental blocks in place, but of course they opened the show after she had already broken like control from him and was dealing with the aftermath of that. And that, has been pretty traumatizing for her, because she, throughout, since her debut, she's had a lot of moments where she's been really, just depressed and just traumatized from what happened to her. But Jean put mental blocks in place so that can't happen to her again. So I was hoping, of course, the show would mention some little, reference to the X-Men, but of course the X-Men were owned by a different company, so they couldn't really reference that. So anyway, I don't even think they called Kilgrave a mutant in that show. I don't think they did, because, again, wasn't owned by the same company. Anyway, so let's see. So Black Bolt is our stamp for Tuesday, number 17. And he actually appeared in Fantastic Four also. A lot of first appearances in Fantastic Four, I guess because they deal a lot with, cosmic all around the world instead of just localized kind of New York sort of things. So his appearance was like, I want to say 65. I think I'm remembering that it was a year before Black Panther. So you could find this stamp in Thor number 225, July 74. Also Man-Thing number 4, April 74, and Kazar number 6, November 74. And this is where they got the image from. And this is from Fantastic Four number 59, February 1967. And it says, in this earth-shattering issue, the Inhumans break free. So in Black Bolt, I'm sure you guys, pretty much know the story about him. He accidentally killed his parents because he has this enormous power, and ever since he was a little kid, they realized he had this enormous power, so they basically locked him away, had this power dampening like chamber suit on him. He was isolated, and because they were trying to teach him to control his powers until he was 19. So at 19, he emerged into society and almost immediately found out that there was a plot by his brother Maximus to be in league with the Kree, because Maximus has always desired power. He always wants to, be in charge, be in control. So he had made this deal with the Kree, and Black Bolt found out and was trying to stop the ship from escaping, but unfortunately made it crash instead, and it crashed into the Genetic Council, killing members of that, including his parents. So even though he, killed his parents, he's had to deal with that tragedy, his entire life, the weight of that. Even though he killed his parents, they deemed it wasn't really his fault. And so at 20, he was made the ruler, you know, of the Inhumans. And yeah, I mean, that would be a lot to deal with, have a lot of weight on your shoulders to know that you're responsible for your parents' death. I mean, that would suck. So, of course, we talked about the Inhumans TV show. Not good. Not good. There was just no chemistry between the actors. They just felt wooden. The special effects were not great. Um, so yeah, no, not good. And then of course he was in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, um, and only briefly though. So I feel like they might throw him in Secret Wars. We'll see. I don't know. After because of course Agents of Shield was also focused on the Inhumans, so that they were a focus for a long time. Inhumans, like I said, because Marvel was trying to make Inhumans the next mutants, basically, since they didn't have the film rights to the X-Men. That didn't go so well. Like Miss Marvel was popular; it was a good show, but now they've kind of made her into a mutant, but not an Inhuman, but a mutant. So I was like, okay, they kind of undid some of the stuff they did to make Inhumans popular, but whatever. So yeah, I mean, and then of course he's married to Crystal. They have a son. A very tumultuous history in terms of his people and his reigning, and his brother. Apparently his brother was made driven mad by their proximity, being in proximity to Black Bolt, using his powers when the ship went down, and that like scrambled his brain more and made drove him mad. But he still has that innate desire for power and control. So that is even more amplified by the fact that he's been driven mad. And so most of Black Bolt is him dealing with Maximus, trying to take over the Inhumans, trying to rule them, and trying to grab power for himself. So yeah, talk about family drama. Oh goodness. So anyway, I guess I will probably see you guys later tonight. I mean, with the kitties showing up like they have been almost every night, which is really fun to see. And of course, Dazzler, she enjoys it too because she's always happy to see them. Um, yeah, we'll see if Warren decides to come in the house again, like he did that one time, or if the other new kitty, shows up again. It was just kind of a fluke that I saw him. But anyway, so you probably don't care to hear me rattle on about the cats. But anyway, so I will probably see you guys tonight. And if I don't see you guys tonight, I will definitely see you guys Friday. So until then, bye.